Coming at me, yo. It was coming at me, yo.
You attacked the shit out of him.
The guy was coming at me crazy.
Why?
Wait, take I was taking a picture right now.
Matty.
Maybach music.
Can anybody out there hear me? Hear me? 'Cause I just wanna...
On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch.
Coming in at 320 kilobytes per second, it's time for Mattie C's Sports for you and me.
What the fuck is up? They ain't touching me for nothing. Gang shit is not my business. I ain't not the one to fuck with.
All right, everybody. Today, this is Box with me and Mattie C. Right here, I got Jalen Renard, and I got a dope fighter right here, Reinaldo the Sleeper Torres. How you doing this morning, bro? And first off, thank you very much for your service to this country.
Well, thank you for appreciating that, acknowledging it. And thank you for having me here on the podcast.
Thank you for coming, bro. We're honored to have you
Yeah.
here.
I'm good this morning though. I'm just here. You know, I'm just came from the gym, came from running. About to go after this.
So hold on. So you just rolled right into my first questions, bro. All right, yo. So how do you run? Like the way I run, I wake up in the morning and I don't eat nothing. I gotta run first. Then I run, and then after whatever I run, then I eat. How do you do it?
So I don't know, like it evolved over time. Because when I was younger, it was just run 5 miles every morning. And I don't know, I guess like when I joined the army does it one way, but when I boxed for the army, they did it another way. So it's like I think it depends on what you want to get out of the run. You know, like, and every morning in the military you run at least 5 miles a day, right? Or every other day. And it alternates between strength days and conditioning, or like, cardiovascular days. But like for the amateurs, I think it depends on what you want to get out of it. Like right now, I've been doing a lot of sprints because, the amateurs, you got a few rounds and it's a lot of action that happens within those 3 rounds. So I rather have a burst of energy and a good recovery than just 5 miles of consistent slow pace running. So I do run long distance at least once or twice a week, but for the most part, I've been doing a lot of sprints.
Which makes sense. I mean, with the explosion, you know what I mean? Bing, 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 to have to recover and to be able to go.
In the amateurs, it's just like, it's a combination, then defense, then combination, then defense, then combination. So it's like you always have to constantly battle your heart rate and make sure you can always regulate it. So, it's only 3 rounds, so you just got to work, because if you don't work, you fall behind.
And if you're from Texas, it's not even no defense. It's just offense. So you definitely got to work.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, so they're just always running fast,
So with that, I mean, you've been through a bunch of amateur fights so far, and you've gone through a lot throughout your boxing career, and you haven't made it to transition into the pro level yet. But I mean, you got so much accolades already, 2-time Army gold medalist, and of course, like you're in the Olympic trials and stuff like that. So transitioning from all of that, like, are you happy with what you're doing right now? Like you're doing it like you are now, like you're sprinting to the top.
So that's a struggle. That's the main question, It's hard. It's hard because, when I first started boxing, I never cared about the amateurs like that. When I first started boxing, it was just becoming professional and become a world champion. But as I got older and mature, I started to realize how important the amateurs are and developing that resume and all those accolades. But then what became more important than preparing myself and developing that experience to turn professional was actually getting myself in a position where I can be the best fighter in the amateurs. Because it's like, how do you graduate to being a professional if you're not the best at the amateurs? You know what I'm saying? And like Jalen can attest to this. When you try to fight for the Olympics, it's a hard journey. It's a very, very hard thing to do. It's a very accomplishing thing. And it wasn't until I chased that dream of becoming a part of the Olympic team that I realized how prestigious and how big of a deal it is, but also how hard it is, you know. And it's a struggle because now I'm at a point in my career where I'm like, do I want to go for one more Olympics or should I just turn pro? You know, because it's a night and day difference between somebody who's an Olympian and somebody who's not. You know, when you turn pro as an Olympian or a former Olympian, the way to the top is a lot more easier, and you have a lot more support as opposed to somebody who really hasn't done much. It's a lot more difficult. So if I was to turn pro now, it will be a different road, a different type of direction that I will be heading, as opposed if I was to just go to Olympics next year, even just making the team, or if I win gold or what. If I win gold, it's huge. You know, I could become world champion in a year. If I turn pro now, it'll take 5 years before I become world champion. So it's like a struggle, you know. It's like, what do I want to do? You know, what kind of direction, what path am I going to take? Because whatever I commit is what I have to commit to. So it's hard, you know. In the amateurs, I don't think you could ever really accomplish enough, you know, because it will translate into professionals.
I agree with that. I feel like, nah, I take it back. I feel like after a minute, like if you get like 3 gold medals and then you're the
That's
Pan
true.
Am champion, and
Yeah.
you're like, you know what I mean? If you're like OD, it's like, all right, let's turn pro. But I understand exactly what you're saying, like chasing the prestige. Like, yo, one of my favorite fighters, period, Raheem Gonzalez, still an amateur. He's chasing that dream. He's not giving up until he gets that dream. And he's
Yeah.
nasty. He's getting close, but he wants to win a medal. He wants that. You know what I mean? So I definitely understand. Like, do I wait a year? Do I take it? But correct me if I'm wrong. Can't pros now hit the Olympics, but like they have to like under 5 fights or something like that, or under like
Yeah.
10 fights?
Yeah, I think it's a little harder because I think you have to have under 7 fights, and you have to I think you have to send a petition for it. Like you have to kind of apply for that position. And then I think you have to compete. But that's a weird thing that's going on. Because believe it or not, a lot of pros don't. You would think the pros will be dominating the amateurs.
No.
But it's not like that because it's a whole different game.
Yeah.
A lot of the amateurs are fighting, like I said, in sprints, but the professionals are adjusting to the more marathon type of fighting, you know, where it's like you're fighting for 10 rounds. So you're not going to be fighting or throwing combinations nonstop for three rounds. You're going to slow down. Like in the beginning, it's a lot slower pace and it picks up as the fight goes on. And the amateurs, you can't do that. So a lot of professionals aren't really having a lot of success because the amateurs are just working because the professionals are already adjusting to the professional game. So it's kind of hard to kind of revert back to the amateurs. So, you know, it's tough for them.
I definitely see that. Honestly, for me, I'm different. I did it backwards. Like I used like in the amateurs, you see how it's all like weigh in, like I pick my shots.
That's how we all were. That's the culture
Yeah.
of this city. We like to we think more professionally. We have a more professional style, so we take our time. Which was a big problem in the amateurs.
And that's why we kept getting robbed. He's like, yo, I whooped his ass, but he threw a million punches. He ain't landed 2, but like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But now the way I fight, like I just let my hands go. Like I was watching. Matter of fact, I was watching my last fight, and I was like, God dang, the amount of punches I'm throwing. Like, why didn't I do this in the amateurs? Like, I'd have been a national champion instead of sitting there and waiting. It's like boom, 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 just letting your hands go. Like, I feel like that's something that a lot of pros forget about. But I feel like me personally, I feel like I don't have all that, like a lot of power. You know what I mean? So I feel like I don't forget about fucking throwing hands. Like it don't gotta hurt you, but it's gonna annoy you. I'm poking your eye with this little knuckle. You feel me?
I disagree. I think you're hard. We sparred. I think you have pop. So I disagree on that one, but I get it.
I appreciate that. Thank you, man. You can crack it too, man.
No, but no, I agree. I think it's tough. It's tough because it's trying to find a happy medium. You got to keep the judges happy at the end of the day. And you got to keep that in mind that when you're trying to win a fight and win every round, you got to always think, what are they seeing? And in their eyes, am I winning? And that's always tough. That's a tough battle.
Yeah, cause
Oh, go ahead, Jalen. I'm sorry.
nah, my bad. You go.
Well, my thing is, it's two different styles of boxing, like with the Olympic trials and compared to boxing, like you said. I mean, I'm from the outside looking in. I'm not stepping in the ring because I know y'all kick my ass. But the thing is like when I watched a documentary on I think it was three fighters and they were trying out for the Olympic trials, and
I seen that.
I think it was called it was called like Counter Punch or something.
Counter Punch.
Great talk. I was there in all the tournaments. I was there.
Oh, you was in there.
I was in all of them. Yeah.
Oh,
I know
shit.
all those guys. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I saw it and I'm like, this is what really it takes to get into the Olympic trials. Like so many different elements, like different places you need to go. Like if you didn't do it well or correctly, it's very critiqued, I feel, more than pro boxing. Like you have to do all these certain steps from what it looked like in that.
It's hard because what a lot of people don't understand is, like right now, I decided I'm gonna commit to the next Olympics. So I'm gonna fight in the next Olympic qualifier, which is in Detroit on the 20th of this month.
Oh,
okay. Congratulations. Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah. Because I'll get to that in a second. But what people forget is the hardest part about these tournaments, in my opinion, is not even the fighters. Because put anybody in front of me, I know at the end of the day, I'm at a point of where I have so much experience that I can hold my own with anybody. But the hard part is you have to fight every day. Every day. The best fighters, some of the best fighters in the world. So it's like, in a professional game, you might, even if it's a for a title, 12 rounds, it's tough. I'm not saying it's tough. Like, don't get me wrong, it's hard, but it's a different type of hard because, in the moment, the adrenaline's going, you're fighting for 12 rounds. If you're in shape, fight your fight, win, lose, do what you got to do. And the amateurs, when you're fighting for the Olympic qualifiers, you got a week and you're fighting every single day, the best fighters. And it's tough because
you don't know who
one day you fight hard because you want to win and you fight somebody who's good, So a lot of times it's like a lot of times you'll see split decisions like, I don't know who won that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because everyone knows how to fight at this level. Everybody does. So it's like you're fighting hard. A man's trying to beat you down. Then the next day you got to fight. But you have to remember, you had a whole night of recovery. So your body's hurting. You're sore. So every day that goes on, like the last tournament I was in, I was third place. I fought like 4 or 5 times before I lost. And by that last fight, I was like, yo, I'm hurting. I wouldn't, in my mind, I wouldn't accept that. Like I was like, I'm ready for the next fight. Let's go. But after the fact, I'm like, damn, my body is broken. Like I'm in a lot of pain. And it's hard to prepare for that. Like, how do you get ready to fight every single day? And you're not just fighting you're fighting people who know how to fight. This isn't a regular tournament. This is the highest level it gets, It's tough. It's hard. It's really hard. And I think that's what I really fell in love with it, because it's like, it's that challenge. It's like, it gets to a point where you got to battle yourself. And those moments, it's not even like a lot of times, like the last fight, I was like, I know the guy's not on my level. Like, I know he doesn't have my level of experience, but I was battling myself. Like, I'm like, damn, it hurts to even throw a punch, but I got to push through that. You know what I'm saying? I got to keep going. So it's hard because you're right. Like that documentary is amazing. I love it. I watch it. I watched it like maybe 10 times because I bet
it gave me a great perspective for sure.
Yeah, it kind of gives you insight because I don't think a lot of people see the Olympics and they see that, but they don't see what it takes to even get there. That's why it's that prestigious. Like it's, yes, the Olympics is amazing. You're fighting the best fighters in the world, right? But to even get to that position, it takes. When I first started chasing the Olympics, I was like, I'm thinking it's the Golden Gloves. I'll fight once a week, and you're fighting you're traveling.
Hold,
You
hold, hold
first of
up,
all, you have
hold
to
up,
find a way
hold
to
up.
get there. And
You
then
thought
you
it was
gotta
like the
fight
Golden
and
Gloves?
win. What's up?
When we first started going, you thought it was like the Golden Gloves?
I wasn't sure what to. No, I didn't. I knew it was gonna be like fighting every day, but I was like, it was more like it can't be that bad. You know what I'm saying? Because at that point, I was like, whatever comes, whatever comes. But I wasn't. I didn't. I wasn't. I didn't know. I wasn't aware of
Yo,
the level of competition at what you have to do fighting every
you
day.
a real one. You a real one. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I went there too, bro, with you. I
Yeah,
went there studying these guys. I went there like, God damn, yo, we gotta fight these guys. This is about to be tough.
yeah,
Damn, I don't even got a good mouthpiece. I'm just like I'm over here like just breaking shit down. Like, dang, no headgear. God, I never
yeah.
fought with no headgear.
Yeah. I remember we went to Colorado to fight in that Olympic qualifier. And we didn't even have that was the first tournament that they regulated that you couldn't wear you couldn't wear casual shorts. Like you had to wear
You had to
if
wear
you're
the
in the
red
red
and
corner,
blue,
you had to wear a red uniform. If you were in the blue corner, you had to wear a blue uniform.
and we didn't
We
have
we
any.
didn't we didn't come prepared. We didn't have that. So the day before we fought, we were running around Dick's and all these sporting stores we had to get a guy to make it, like tailor it overnight. And we paid
Word,
that money for like 2 uniforms
and we
because the
had to
guy
share
had to
them.
do it overnight. Yeah, we were a mess. But
Yo, yeah, yo, they did us dirty with that. Like, how you not gonna like write it down and let everyone know like these are what you need to wear. We came with our own trunks and everything. I had custom made trunks that was like five
yeah,
hundred
we
dollars. I'm
all
like, y'all
did.
wearing these shits?
Yeah, and it was tough because we had somebody like a sponsor bought us uniforms to wear, and I think it
Yeah,
had like their logo, and we couldn't even wear it. And yeah, it was like it was a bad situation. We're like, damn.
that shit was
But
horrible.
yeah, I mean the problem with Springfield, in my opinion, is that we don't have enough experienced trainers like that who've been there, done it. Like we had to, like me and you in particular, had to learn on the job. We had to with the
Yeah,
coaches that were there, like your dad or Marvin. Like we had to
we all
show
learned
up
together.
and figure it out as we went. So we made a lot of mistakes, and we had
But
to learn through experience.
you know what was good because like Pops and Marvin, they was different. Like they talk to each other, they talk to other gyms, they take in like, all right, well, this works for you guys. They bring it over here, boom, boom. They was good with talking and listening, having an open mind. A lot of coaches now they think they know it all,
Yeah,
so they don't think they can learn nothing from the next man. So it's forget what he's saying. Everything I'm saying is right, and that's one thing. And that's especially in Springfield, I've noticed, like Massachusetts, CT, a lot, like all around here, like Region One. That's the mindset we have. We stay in our gym. We can't learn nothing from no one else, and this is what we do. I personally feel like that hinders us a lot because, like, if you look at me,
100%.
I go everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I be in gyms in New York. I'll go to Philly and be in gyms. It doesn't matter. All the gyms around here, I'm going to get work. I'm gonna work. I'm gonna do whatever I need to do. I'm trying to get better. If you tell me something and I think I can use it, I'm gonna use it. If you tell me something and I don't like how it sounds, I'll put it on the back burner. Maybe I need to use it. You know what I mean? But like I could talk to a kid that got 10 fights. He might do something that I particularly don't do. So now
yeah,
I bet I'm gonna use that. Matter of fact, bro, a couple weeks ago, I seen a little kid throw a check hook. I ain't throwing a check hook in like 8 years, bro. I
yeah,
used to be the king of the check hook. I was like, oh snap. Why stop doing that?
yeah,
That's what I did.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of animosity between the gyms right now. I think everyone's too overly competitive in the same city. I think they forget that. See a lot of it is that they haven't been on that level. Like I really don't know many of the gyms that are really about it in a sense of like going to the national level. Like when I came back out of the army, because I boxed for the army and we traveled everywhere. And when I came out, I was like, I came back home and I'm like, yo, y'all turning pro, but like, where's y'all amateur experience? Like the thing is, and that's a whole nother can of worms as to really why I'm saying that. But to go into what you're saying, there's too much competition, like everyone is so quick to down each other, and there's a lot of animosity, and I don't want to say hate, but it's like, the coaches and the fighters are too busy trying to be better than one another, but they're forgetting that, in my opinion, we're a part of the same city. We're in the same culture, the same environment, and we should be elevating each other, not trying to top each other. I mean, like, you're always gonna be competitive to some extent. Like, you're always gonna be like, yeah, I want to be better than this dude, or I don't want to get better. This man gets, to get the better of me in sparring. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't get to a point where you're hindering other people's progression, because now you're hindering your own progression. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're destroying your own potential because of this idea that you want to have of being the best and only gym out here. And it's like, the problem with us is, like, if you look at New York, Texas, Florida, California, Philadelphia, big states like that, when it comes to boxing, they're competitive, but the gyms work a lot more cohesive with each other as opposed to us. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, like, it's not unheard of that you go to, like, when you go to these national tournaments, the Philadelphia fighters might come with one coach from different gym fighters, but one coach who would come. You know what I'm saying? Because they'll come together and be like, we're all gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're constantly working with each other, and they'll give each other sparring and give it, like, here you might not even spar somebody because they don't want you to see what they got, or they don't even want you to get better. So they're like, yo, no sparring this person, because he's kind of like a direct competitor. Like, he's on my weight class. We might see each other in the future. And, at the end of the day, I don't want him to get better, so I'm not going to give him any work. It's like, that's not the mindset that we should be having, in my opinion. We should be working towards each other and fighting people outside of this, you know what I'm saying? Other states, or even outside of the country, But, I think we kind of destroy our own potential in the city.
Yo, my bad, man. Let me say this real quick.
Yeah.
Bro, you 100% right. And another thing, when it comes to, like, the coaching and the fighters, how they feel, a lot of coaches like to poach. So a lot of coaches won't bring their fighters around certain people. And a lot of fighters, like, you're right, they just don't want to get better. Like, the way Pops brought me up, like, in the game, iron sharpens iron. I need someone next to me that's nasty, that's either just as good as me or better. If you're not just as good as me or better, I really don't. Like, I'll help you, I'll show you some shit, but I don't need you here. You know what I mean? I want to play catch up. I don't want to be up here. I want to play catch up, or I want to be racing. Like, I'm here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to continuously get better. And I feel that's why, like, honestly, I feel like that's why I gym hop so much. Like, I would go over here, I wasn't the best. Then I was like, I feel like I'm the best now. I'll go over here, I am not the best. I feel like I'm the best now. And then, no disrespect to anyone I was in the gyms with, but it's just like, proof would be in the pudding. I'm putting in the work. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm going places that other people aren't going, or doing what they're not willing to do. You know what I mean? Waking up, running the miles they're not willing to run, eating the nasty ass steamed chicken that they're not willing to eat. So
I have that same issue, but my problem is that I didn't just travel all over the country. I've been all over the world. I was boxing in Poland, Germany, Italy, Spain. You know what I'm saying? I've been everywhere. And, you know what I'm saying? When I was boxing for the Army, I boxed with Olympians. You know what I'm saying? Like, Shakur Stevenson was there sometimes. You know what I'm saying? It's, so coming from that environment, coming back here, it's hard because of the ego. Like I said, everyone's so competitive and things like that. And the problem is, they don't, and from my perspective, and not that I know everything, because I don't. There's so much I still have to learn. There's so much I still have to develop to. But from my perspective, to be real, I don't think a lot of the gyms here are looking at things on a bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we have so much experience. We've been everywhere, that I think we look at things from the big scheme of things. I don't think a lot of gyms here, like, they're looking at the little things, like,
they're looking at small potatoes.
Yeah, like, they just want to turn pro. A lot of them are doing it for clout. You know what I'm saying? Or, they want to be world champion, but they don't really know what boxing really means. You know what I'm saying? What it's really about. Like, because I don't think any of them really challenged themselves to that level. You know what I'm saying? When you go to that national level or bigger, you start to really see, or, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, when we were at Colorado, we saw Gary Russell, Shakur Stevenson was there,
Yes,
Teofimo Lopez
yes.
was there. We see all these big fighters who are doing big things and dominating fighters, like, and it makes
And
you
what that make
question,
you wanna
like,
do?
yo, am I doing enough? Like I
Yes.
remember it was a wake up call the first time I went to the Olympic qualifier because I'm like, yo, I'm not even in. I thought I was in shape. I'm like, yo, I'm coming in, I'm ready. But then after, I was like, yo, these guys are on a whole different level. I gotta get there. I gotta get there. They haven't seen that. A lot of these gyms, they haven't been to that.
They've been through the trenches, bro. That's what I be telling people.
It wakes you up. It humbles you. It humbles you because you're like, damn, yo, I'm telling you, because a lot of people, they stay here in Springfield. So it's like, when I was in that mentality, because I didn't, we didn't, before we went to the national thing, we didn't go. We were like, yo, we're good, and then you go, you start traveling, you start challenging yourself at the highest level, and you're like, damn, it's humbling. It's like, yo, they're on a different level. Like, Marvin was always real with me. He'll be like, yo, Ray, you eating pizza, and this guy's eating like all natural peanut butter. Like, that's disgusting. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, damn, like, I really do have to step it up, whether it's what I eat, how much I work. You know what I'm saying? Like, my dedication to the sport, like, went to a whole nother level, because if it didn't, I wouldn't be on that level. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these guys, they don't really see that. You know what I'm saying? They don't, because they haven't really been in an environment where you're just a small fucking nail, and these guys are on this level. You know what I'm saying? Because over here, you might think you're up here, but everyone's here. When you go to, like, when you fight with Sugar Stevens and all these people, they're up here and you're still here, and you're like, damn, what do I got to do to get there? But they haven't seen that. You know what I'm saying? They're still looking at the small scale. That's what I'm saying. They haven't seen the big scheme of things. They're still looking at things on a smaller level because they haven't put themselves in that environment. And that hurts our city. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I came back, I was like, I went to some gyms and I'm like, yo, I need to really get out of here. Like,
but like,
you don't have to leave the city, but start, like, go to different states. Like, do what you got. Like, start seeing what's out there, because we aren't it. Like, yeah, you guys feel proud because you might be this fighter might be better than this fighter. But to me, I've been all over the world. Like, not to be like arrogant or anything.
Being real.
That fighter to me ain't much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen this. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you guys are bragging about this, but it's like you haven't even really seen this. You know what I'm saying? Because you haven't pushed yourself in that environment. So it's like we kind of hurt ourselves. We're limiting our own potential. But that's why I think, like, we're important. Because we're pushing boundaries more than anybody ever has in the history of the city, besides Wilbur. Wilbur's the only one. But other than that, nobody really ever did what me and you did. You know what I'm saying? So
facts. We set it off. No one was going to nationals. It wasn't cool to pay your way to go to the PAL before we did it. They were sitting there like, whatever. If I don't make my way, I don't need to. But bro, you're right. Like, see, yo, Matty, like, when you coming up, like, these guys, and I don't want to disrespect no one, but like, they really think they the shit. And you can tell by how different we went from, if you look at like our first nationals we went together. See how cocky I was? I thought I was the man.
Yeah.
I thought I was about to fuck shit up. There was nothing they could do to me. Boom, boom. Bro, I went there and I lost. You feel me? I didn't get my ass handed to me, but I lost. And I seen what it was, how tired I got, how strong this guy was, how big he was. Matter of fact, I fought fucking what's that big-headed nigga's name? He's Jose Aldo.
Jose Aldo.
That big mother. Yo, he was huge.
Yeah. See, okay, that guy, right? Listen, a lot of guys will brag like, oh, I'm two-time national champion regionally too, not even nationally, regionally.
Regional champion.
I hear that and I'm like, that's like preschool shit to me, because Jose Aldo, this man was ranked number 1 on 2 weight classes simultaneously at the same time. He was
for like years.
He was like, he would go into tournaments and you'd be like, yo, how can I beat him? Because he would just dominate everybody. Every tournament, it never like, and honestly, he didn't even look that impressive. Like, it wasn't like he was like really, I don't think he was really athletically gifted, but he just knew how to win.
Can I tell you what it was?
There was a point in time where I didn't see him lose. I was like, yo, how is this guy like winning and winning? He just knew how to win so well.
I'll tell you,
He's from Texas.
tell you what it was. I'll tell you exactly what it was, why he was winning and winning. You feel me? He's very long for that weight class, He's very tall for the weight class, and he's a weight bully. After he weighs in, I don't know how he does it, but he's definitely getting in the ring at like 68.
Yeah,
You feel me? He was fucking huge. I was a big 52. He was like twice my size. You feel me? So he's a weight bully. And then on top of that, he's very, very well schooled. If you watch him, he does damn near everything perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Throws the right hand correctly. So he definitely gets all the power. And he's not even throwing as hard as he can. So he's definitely getting everything he can muster out of it. He's throwing all that shit right. His feet is always in a spot where he can bang out and move. Even if he's on the ropes, he can angle. And he rarely gonna catch him on the rope. But if he's on the ropes, he's coming in to set you up. He has the good angles. He has a good punch selection. He has a good know-how. He sees stuff. You know what I mean? That's what makes it. It's not all that fast, not all the power in the world. Yeah. But he does everything very well, and he's long and lanky. So most people, it's hard for them to get over the length. You know what I mean? But like, that was a badass dude, bro.
Yeah.
One of the only guys I got nervous fighting.
Yeah.
So my thing is, you know, like you were saying, Ronaldo, with you know, with the Springfield gyms, and they kind of stick to just their gym and they don't branch out. My best thing I ever heard was a MMA fighter who, you know, there's a lot of those gyms too, where he was saying to me, like, listen, we got internal beef with different, you know, like different states in New England and all that stuff, where all these states should be unified and work as one. That way everybody can work together to get to their ultimate goal. So like, do you feel like that's kind of happening? Like that needs to happen a lot more? Because it seems like some states are loyal to their gyms and that's it. And then they're like, well, I'm going to beat the shit out of the one in Massachusetts, or we're going to come to New York, we're going to go beat their ass. Like, you know, it should be unified where you're happy for another fighter from New England, whether it be Maine, New Hampshire, like Vermont, wherever. You know, like it just seems like there's so much animosity between some gyms, and then they're calling out people, and which is all well and good. It's part of the game, either MMA or boxing. Like they call out people and that's what happens. But, you know, like now it's a real internal struggle, like, you know, with other gyms fighting with each other instead of getting the common goal and getting to either Top Rank, Showtime, HBO, DAZN, whatever. You know, like it seems like it needs to be more unified. And like you said, Jalen, some guys are just not right to go to Detroit, go to Philadelphia, go to New York. They just want to stay in their area and that's it. And then if they get a little bit better, then that's what they do.
Facts. I mean, I feel like some boxers today, bro, especially today, like I'm gonna keep it a band, and I'm gonna get a lot of flack when I say this. I feel like the new era of like fighters are fucking pussies. Like I ain't never seen motherfuckers bitch and whine and swear to God they I don't know what's in the drinking water, and I'm not even talking about like just like around here. I'm talking about in general, like just this generation that's coming out. You know what I mean? Like, bro, they're so soft and they don't want to do nothing. Like they turn pro. Like, what is 40 fights? What is 20 fights? Bro, you're not even a teenager in this amateur game yet. You haven't even seen a national anything. You know what I mean? You haven't even seen a national flyer. Fuck a fucking tournament. You know what I mean? You haven't. These guys ain't never won the Golden Gloves or done nothing. Like, and y'all just turning pro, and then you're turning pro, and then you don't even do stuff to get you better. You fight people that are supposed to fall. You don't step up accordingly, and then you rack up a whole bunch of wins, and then you're like 40-0, 20-0, 38-0 with a million knockouts, and then you go fight someone that's 9-0 and get the shit beat out of you.
Yeah,
you feel me? Mm-hmm. Like I don't understand it. Like how do you not prepare yourself to be the absolute best? Because when you make the turn, because you don't get paid in the amateurs, so until you make the turn, it cannot be a job. You know what I mean? And so you start making money. Well, you on the USA boxing team, you get money, I think. So when you up that, it's a job. But when you make the turn, you're choosing this is what I'm doing for a living. This is what I'm going to make my career. So you got to give yourself the best tools to go and function and do that job. And you can't get no tools. You can't get the right tools if you ain't did the right shit in the amateurs. If you didn't go to at least one national tournament, and that's being nice. If you don't go to at least one national tournament and see what they're doing and see how hard it is, you know what? Getting back to that, you was talking about fighting every day. Yeah, bro, fighting every day, fighting, and then going right back to the gym to cut weight so you could fight the next day. That's a pain in the ass.
And you're not just fighting every day; you're fighting the best fighters every day.
Every day,
You're,
you're fighting
you're not fighting guys locally who are decent. You're fighting the best fighters who are just as prepared or more prepared than you are, and have probably more experience than you do. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when I went to California, the dude, I had 8 amateur fights. Technically, I probably shouldn't have even been there, but I was like, fuck it.
You shouldn't have.
I've always had the mentality, I want to be the best, so I'm gonna fight even if I have to lose. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's learning. So I fought a kid named David Craddock. Mind you, I had 8 amateur fights, right? Not even open class, not even 10 fights. This guy had over 300 amateur fights, a 2-time national champion, Golden Glove national champion. And I remember I was like, damn, it's like I felt like David and Goliath. I'm like, I'm fighting a guy who has so much experience, and I got a split decision, almost won. But
I thought you won.
Yeah, some people did. But my point is that that's the level of experience you're dealing with. You're dealing with guys who are really I'm telling you right now, a lot of these guys can beat up most of the pros. Facts. Like most of these guys can, even some of the world champions, some of these national like amateur champions are better than a lot of the world champions. Because boxing professionally is different. It's about money. To be able to, you could be trash and be a big name and become a world champion and not even be that good if you got money. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just the way that it is. Mm-hmm. And the amateurs, you can't fake it. You win or you lose based on how good you are. I mean, sometimes there's politics behind it. A lot of times, but
when you fight around here in Region 1, there's nothing but politics.
Yeah, regionally, yeah, especially locally. Like, right now there's a big thing between Connecticut and Massachusetts. There's always that rivalry.
Bro, it's been like that since I was younger, bro. When I was novice, bro, they robbed the hell out of me. Connecticut hated me.
I honestly don't think I ever want to fight in Connecticut. Even if I won, I don't think I ever won. If I was fighting in Connecticut, if I didn't knock them out, I was gonna lose. I was like, I already accept that. That's just no matter how dominant the performance was, I was never gonna win a fight there.
The only fights I won in Connecticut were by knockout.
Yeah. Not to not Connecticut, because CT got some real fighters, you know what I'm saying? But the officials, and I think it's different now. But when I was coming up, the guy that ran it, I'm not to talk bad about anybody, but what I understood from our perspective, whether it's true or not, there was a lot of rivalry.
Yeah, God rest his soul. The guy that ran, I think he passed.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, the Roy. His name was Roy something, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he passed.
Yeah.
But
see, the problem is this. The reason why a lot of times they're like that though is because they're looking out for their fighters. You have to understand when they win, right? Like when they win, they get points. If you're fighting in a tournament in Connecticut, that might pave the way. Because some of these tournaments, like if you win the Golden Gloves, the Western Mass Golden Gloves, right? Then you win in Lowell, they'll pay for you to go to the National Golden Gloves. Like they'll pay it. So a lot of times,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So like if you win the regionals, and I think it's in Lowell as well.
I didn't know after Lowell. Lowell actually recently they're having one this week or next week.
Once you win Lowell, you represent New England.
Yeah, and they'll pay for it. Like they'll pay for you to go to the nationals. Same thing with the regional tournaments. Like New England, if you win New England here, then they'll pay for you to go to Spokane, Washington, and represent New England.
For that one, if you win,
so a lot of times,
You gotta go to New York, and then you bang out with them, and then the winner of that will go up. You go fight in New York, but you're not fighting in New York. You're fighting I forgot what borough you're supposed to fight, but you fight them, and then Brooklyn and someone else fight someone else, and then that's who goes to for the USAs.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of times there could be politics because, you might get that one fighter who has like 11 amateur fights, right? This happened to me before. I'm not gonna name names, but I remember when I was coming up, I fought a kid. I was like 12 amateur fights at this point because I picked up fast. I was fighting. I was like, I don't want to fight. I want to fight the best. And I fought somebody who had a lot more experience than me, went to the nationals, all that stuff. And, even his dad was like, yeah, I think you won that fight. But the thing is that from the official's perspective, if I had won that fight, let's say I had, what do you call it? Like, I don't know, like I just had one good night and I just happened to win. Or he had a bad night and I won. When I go to the nationals, I represent New England. I might not perform the way that I did that night, So it's like, do we really want to let this kid win, who doesn't have a lot of experience, as opposed to somebody who has more of a resume that might guarantee more success, So that's where the politics come in, because you have to represent, and there's a lot of money involved. So it's like, are we gonna let this kid represent us, or we're gonna have this kid who has a bigger name, has been around for a lot longer, who's been doing this and this and this. Yeah, he lost that fight, but would this kid be able to go to nationals and win? They don't want to take that chance.
I don't agree with that, bro. I feel like, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like most of it's personal. I feel like judges don't like certain fighters, because if they was doing that, I'm gonna be honest with you, Zachariah Ramsey would have always been at nationals. If you're gonna send your best, if you're gonna cheat and send your best, then they're gonna send their best. You know what I mean? Zach would have been at nationals. You would have been at nationals all the time. Marquand would have always been a national. He's a national fighter in his own right. You know what I mean? Jermaine always would have been at national. He was at nationals a lot. You feel me? Rashidi Ellis always would have been at nationals. You know what I mean? And even, I'm not even, you know what? I'm gonna toot my own horn. I definitely would have been at nationals, because there was a couple times where I was the best 152-pound fighter and I got robbed. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't feel that money has to do with it. I feel they like who they like, and they like the style they like. And I just feel us, Region 1 particularly, and I love our judges. You know what I mean? I'm cool with all of our judges. But I've definitely sat in the crowd and heard them go back and forth and talk about who's winning a fight. They don't know shit, because they're definitely fucking wrong. At least in the amateurs. In the pros, I feel like they be getting it pretty much right. In the amateurs, I don't be understanding. I can't I be scoring it how they score it, and I be going off their points. And I'm not even talking about I'm talking about recent fights I done seen, and I'm like, bro, how you gave that boy the victory? There ain't no way he could win. You feel me? If I referee, if I judge it by pro standards, he lose. Amateur standards, he lose. The punch count, he loses. You know what I mean? There's nothing there's no way you can get this man to fight. But if you listen to what some of the judges be talking about, when the fight's going on, oh, he's giving them the business. Oh, he's doing this. Look at that. And it's pointless aggression does not do anything. And Region 1 has a thing with pointless aggression. They think if you just go forward and throw punches, you're winning a fight. And I don't agree with that, because if you're going forward and you're throwing punches, that's fine. You're not doing anything. If you throw 9 punches and I just land 3 and you didn't miss them all, who won the exchange? Not the person that just threw 9 punches. I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I see again, I'm from the outside looking in, but talking to you guys, or talking to certain fighters, I've talked to fighters personally and been I feel like I got robbed. I feel like I should have got the victory instead of the loss or the draw or whatever it may be. But in the end, it's do you give up on that? or do you keep going? Because, you know, there's promotions that are, you know, having favoritism for certain fighters and not putting them on the, but putting guys on the card like they should. You know, I feel like that's a problem in some of the promotions, because they're not giving the people who are undefeated and have very good skills. Instead, they're on the back burner, and you have the guy who's on the card every fucking time, and he'll be the star, and it's like, oh well, I'm not going to give, you know, because he's on the undercard, I'm only going to give him a certain amount of tickets. Like, I don't like the game in that way, because it's like, when you see it from a boxing point of view compared to a spectator point of view, it's like, oh, I never knew this was happening. And it's like, well, it is happening. It's favoritism. And then there's fighters that like literally work their fucking ass off. I'm not being bad to any other fighters, but fighters that are working their ass off of their records and doing what they need to do, and they're not getting the recognition. And I feel like that's kind of like a disrespect kind of thing. And it's like, oh, well, let me use this guy for a while, pay him a couple $1,000s, and that's it. It's just a weird game sometimes. And I particularly don't like it sometimes, but I understand what it is as a business perspective.
Yeah. In terms of professional, so that's why I haven't really turned pro yet, because the professional game is a whole different beast. Like, that's where things get so complicated. And it comes down, you know, I'm a firm believer that you could be a great fighter. You could be the best fighter. And, you know, it's funny because, like, my brother used to always tell me when I was younger that he had a high school teacher that told him, you would never know the best basketball player ever because he was too busy playing it on the street. And I think that translates to a lot of things.
That was a good one.
That was real good, bro.
What?
That was a good one.
I felt that.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, with boxing, the best fighters I've seen, the best fighters never get love. Never get love. And a lot of times it's because they're so dedicated to their craft to become that great, that when it comes to the professional game, the promoters can give a rat's ass how good you are. What they care most is how much money you make, how marketable you are. If you put ass in seats, you can be trash. If you put look at like Jake Paul, not even a real fighter. He's making more money than 99% of boxers out there because he's marketable, or he put himself in a position where he's marketable. So it's hard because as a fighter, when you turn pro, you have to make a good transition and start splitting your head between dedicating yourself to the craft consistently like you did in the amateurs, but now you have to start thinking more marketable, like becoming more marketable. Like, how do I promote myself through social media? How do I develop? That's why you'll see fighters with Puerto Rican flags, or, you know, they'll start doing different things because they're trying to broaden their audience because they want to become more marketable. Because the reality is, you could be great, but if you don't sell tickets, they don't care about you. That's just the reality. Like, and a lot of times, like the pro game, it's, you know, like you, especially in the beginning, you're either the A side or B side. You're either going to be somebody's opponent or you're going to be somebody who's supposed to win. And obviously that person who's supposed to win got money back behind them by the promoters or managers or whatever. So it gets real complex, you know, and, you know, at the end of the day, you're not going to be A side if they don't think that that investment is going to pay off. And it's not going to pay off if you're not marketable, you know? So I agree with what you're saying 100%. But, you know, it's like, on the flip side, I can, as bad as it may sound that you're playing with somebody's career or whatever, I can understand to some extent, because who's putting up these shows? The promoters, right, you know, and the managers, like, right, you know, and it takes money to put these shows up. So, you know, you want the guy who's going to make you the most money spearheading those shows, because if not, you're not going to make a return. So it's tricky. It's real tricky, you know, and this is where, you know, I started to think way back when I was younger, like Mike Tyson, Teddy Atlas, they used to always put this narrative that boxing should be like an association. Like there should be like the NBA or the NFL, where you have a big governed body that regulates what's going on. So regardless how good you are, yeah, you're going to get paid based on what you're worth, but not so much as to how marketable you are. Well, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand, but not as heavy as it is now, because I'm telling you, like right now, I could turn pro, and I know there are fighters that aren't half as good as I am that would make more money than me because they're more about that clout. They're a lot more out there, and on top of that, like, I'm so dedicated to the sport. I don't drink, I don't smoke. So I'm not in a club, I'm not partying, I'm in the gym. But they're in the club, they're creating those connections, they're putting their face out there. So they get a lot more exposure, So it's real tricky, it's real tricky. It's hard, it's complicated, it comes down to, money, really. And it sucks, but
that's what Floyd does too. I mean, if you think about it, Floyd is in his own way is a genius in himself. He promoted himself very well. And I particularly am not a huge fan with how things go on. Like, everybody makes fun of him, but it's like, hey, he's a smart man, he's a businessman, and he makes sure that everybody in his camp is good. But again, he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he fights, and he's a respectable guy. He's fought one of the best guys in the world, and there's a reason why he's undefeated, and he's a perfect example of how to hold a good record. He hasn't fought any bums in any time.
Yo, I love Floyd Mayweather. He's one of my favorite fighters. That motherfucker ruined boxing. He definitely ruined boxing. Before him, it wasn't I'm scared to lose he was so damn nasty and no one could whip his ass that everyone was I gotta be like him. And it's like, bro, you can't really be like him and fight like him because you're not him, bro. So now it's like everyone is terrified to lose that. I remember back in the day, like, Glenn Johnson had like 8 losses and still won a world title. You know what I mean? If you got 8 losses now, you're not even gonna see you're probably not seeing nothing. You know what I mean? You're gonna see maybe a good payday if you got 8 losses. And you know what I mean?
Well,
it's crazy.
I think from my perspective, because this is depending on who you ask, everyone has a different opinion on this. From my perspective, I think he ruined boxing in terms of he really solidified the business first mentality. Now, like, I get it. You want to make your money. You're not putting all the hard work in, right? And like all sports, athletes don't last too long. We're not going to do this for 40 years. You know what I'm saying? So the money you make, you have to capitalize on it and really make sure that you make the most of it. And that moment, when you're in your prime, that won't last forever. It's only a few years you're in your prime. So you got to make sure, like I said, you make the best of it. But he really, like, if you compare like someone like Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Ken Norton to like a Mayweather, it's different, because how do I say it?
Money.
Yeah, the thing about Mayweather is amazing fighter, the best, one of the best, right? But he was smart where he never let his ego speak for his career. You know what I'm saying? Like, the reality, from my perspective, I think he really picked and choose when he fought anybody. You know what I'm saying? When and how, and you know what I'm saying? Like, the thing about the sport, like, okay, like, you'll see it, right? In the beginning of the game, when you're fighting, when you first turn pro, like, if I was to turn pro tomorrow and I have a promoter, like, if I'm signed to somebody, I'm not just fighting anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to just, they're not just be like, all right, we found somebody, hopefully you win based on your skills. It's not like that. It is not like that. What it comes down to is investment. So, if a promoter signs me for 2 years or X amount of fights, right, in a year, they're not going to just put me in with somebody and hopefully I win. It's not like that. They're not taking that chance. That's bad business. That is bad business. What they're going to do is they're going to put me up with somebody who's an opponent, somebody who's not in shape, somebody who's probably doesn't have any experience, so I can win, a guaranteed win. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm an investment. You don't want to take that chance. You're not going to put some money into somebody and then be like, well, hopefully he does what he's supposed to. No, they're not going to take that chance with nobody. That's bad business. It doesn't make any sense. You're going to lose money. So they have to kind of guarantee a win. So, and to some extent, not to say that boxing's rigged, especially in the beginning, but you know what I'm saying? A lot of fighters know that they're going into a fight knowing they're not going to win because they're either fighting somebody who's twice their size and he got 2-week notice to fight, if they even got 2-week notice, and they're getting paid to fight. And they know they're getting paid to lose. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I fight somebody, like right now, if I fight tomorrow, my manager's not going to put me, like I said, with somebody who's good. Like, they're not going to make me fight Jalen. Hell no. That makes no sense. Jalen's nice. There's a chance I might lose. So then, no, that doesn't make any sense. We're not going to front $3,000 or more for him to possibly lose against somebody who's good. No, they're going to put me up with somebody who is fat, out of shape, is not training, and probably has no experience. And they're going to pay him like $3,000 to fight me just so I can build my record. You know what I'm saying? That's how the sport is. That's the approach of the managers and promoters. They have to make that investment. So Mayweather capitalized on that and said, why take it to the lower level? Let's take it to the high level. So for him, when he fought, even on the highest level, if the time wasn't right, if someone was too risky, why take that chance? You got millions of dollars at worst. It takes one loss and your stock is over. You know what I'm saying? Like when look at Keith Thurman, when he was winning, it was success. The second he lost, it wasn't the same. You're not going to make the same kind of money. You're not going to take that same draw, you know? So why take that chance to lose? You want to capitalize your prime. You want to make sure that you keep winning. So when Mayweather had fought De La Hoya back in 2000 and he was in his prime and dominating the sport, I don't know. It's too risky. Why would he? A lot of, you know what I'm saying? If you notice, there's a trend. Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford could have fought a long time ago, but now they're talking about it because they're almost done with their career. They're both getting into the mid-30s. You know what I'm saying? They beat everybody else. So now it's like, all right, we're the best, the top dogs. Let's make it happen. Win or lose doesn't matter. Career's almost over anyways. So we've made our money, and let's make the most money now. And then whatever happens, we'll walk away. But that's how it happens, in the sport. Realistically, that's what, like when Canelo fought Sergey Kovalev. Realistically, some people say Kovalev was drained. It was a catch weight. There was a rehydration clause. You know what I'm saying? Or when Guillermo Rigondeaux fought Lomachenko was like twice his height or his size. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to really. A lot of times, fighters aren't like I said. This isn't the Foreman Ali era where it was like, I know I'm fighting the best of this person, the best version of this guy, but it's about pride. It's about owning up to that world champion title. You know what I'm saying? I'm the best fighter and I'll fight you and prove it. When you're at your best, like Leonard and Roberto Duran, both amazing. They're both in their prime. You know what I'm saying? You're not seeing that no more. You won't see that no more. It's never going to happen right now. Like, I think Terrence Crawford is one of the best fighters today, but it's not by accident. He fought Carl Brook when he's on his way out. You know what I'm saying? Or he fought Gamboa, Yuriorkis Gamboa, when Gamboa was going up in weight in a weight class he didn't really belong in. So it's like you're gonna fight big name fighters who are good, but you're fighting them at a time or at a point in their career where it makes most sense, where they're minimizing the risk of losing. Would Canelo have fought Amir Khan if it was a natural 154 pounder or whatever? Probably not. Khan is a small guy. We know he doesn't have a good chin. So he's like, whatever, it takes one punch. So he took that risk, So a lot of times these fighters are thinking more business first. And I think that's where Mayweather messed it up, where there's no more pride. There's no more ego. There's no more like, Tommy Hearns and Leonard, when they're fighting literally they're like 20, 23, 25 years old. That's never going to, Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney's not going to happen. Why? Devin Haney's looking at Lomachenko now. Lomachenko's on his way out. You know what I'm saying? Devin Haney might look at Gervonta Davis. Davis is talking about retiring. He fought so many wars already. He's like, I got my money. Davis is already talking about like, I'm not going to last too much longer. This is the perfect time to fight him because he's already clocking out. And he's fighting fights that are becoming more competitive. So it's like this is where Mayweather messed it up. Where Mayweather started that. He was the master at. That's why he's undefeated, because he knew when to fight fighters. You know what I'm saying? He fought Shane Mosley not back in 2000, but when Shane Mosley was already kind of on his way out. He's hitting, and he was 38, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, De La Hoya was literally 2 fights before he retired, or 3. So it's like, he understood this isn't a game of ego and pride. Like, fuck that world title, that world champion title. I'm world champion either way. I want to make my money and I want to win. And I'm going to maximize or minimize that risk I take when I fight. So I think that's where Mayweather kind of messed it up, where there's no more like that pride of like, I'm the best fighter and I'll fight anybody to prove that, I don't think that really exists anymore because everyone's sticking to, like look at Ryan Garcia. He fought
no one.
He's from Dominican Republic.
Fortuna.
Javier Fortuna.
Yeah, Javier
Fortuna is like half his size. Great
Fortuna
fighter, but really was a small fighter. He didn't belong in there with Ryan Garcia.
Not only was he a small fighter, Javier Fortuna was on the way out.
And he was, yeah.
I mean? I don't think he had fought in years before that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Look at Devin Haney when he fought Gamboa. Gamboa was not in shape that fight. They definitely called him and was like, "Oh, we know he's not in camp. Let's make it happen. Let's offer him like $3 million. Of course, he will take the fight for $3 million.
I'll take the fight right now for $3 million.
Huh?
I'll take that fight right now for $3 million.
You see what I'm saying?
And I'll make 135.
Yeah, so, why not? Take it, right?
So my big thing is like between you two, because you're active fighters right now. Is this taking the fun that you used to have for this? Well, you might still be having fun, but is it taking the fun out of the sport because this shit is going on right now?
Absolutely. See, like I said, I grew up 6 fights fighting nationally. I grew up sparring world champions. For me, it was like, I don't even care if I win or lose. I love to fight. I love the fight, and I love to see how I'm going to react in a fight. You know what I'm saying? I want to know if I'm better than this man or not. And it takes the fun out because not only is it because it's no longer best fight. That's why the amateurs is a little more, I can have more fun with it because when you go to a national tournament, you don't pick and choose who you fight. You don't pick and choose. You fight whoever they put in front of you, and it's random. It's literally they're picking them out of a hat. They're creating brackets like, hey, this man's fighting this man. No one's choosing. So you might fight the number one fighter in the country. I love that. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? But not only is it tricky because when I turn pro, you might think I might have the advantage because I have so much of a resume. Somebody might want to invest money into me, and I will become the A-side fighter. But you know what the thing is? You're only one bad fight away from becoming a B-side. And that's where it really becomes stressful and hard because you're constantly having to show I'm worth that investment. You know what I'm saying? And I know so many fighters who get stuck with 2-year, 5-year contracts. And let's say they lose because somebody put them up against a good fighter, but they were supposed to lose. And that's where the money gets involved because some of the promoters might be getting, I don't know, but I've heard stories where like some promoters might kind of turn in their fighter and be like, hey, I'll let my fighter lose if you give me this amount of money, So it's like there's somewhere it gets a little dirty, but
it's a racket, bro. It's a whole racket, and like this is exactly what they be doing. Like they'll be like, all right, well, you give us him, we'll give you him. You feel me? Like that, and then
or you might have like let's say I'm a promoter and I have 2 fighters, right? And one fighter is about to fight. You know what I'm saying? Like let's say I'm a promoter, not too big of a name, right? And I have 2 fighters who are good. One fighter has a chance to fight for world title on like a top rank card. And top rank's like, all right, we'll give you this fight, but we have another fighter who we want to look good. We want one of your fighters to make him look good. So then the promoter's like, fuck. Like, this guy might get $3 million for the world title fight, and I'm getting a portion of that, right? But the only way he's going to get it if I turn in one of my other fighters who are probably going to lose.
Yeah, but they're probably going to get
turn them in. You know what I'm saying?
They're probably going to get like 20 bands. I'm getting like 5 out of that. They're gonna shoot them up the river. It's a very pros is a very, very dirty game, and that's why I feel that as a professional, before you turn pro, you have to sit down and understand this. That it's a dirty
a lot of guys are turning pro not knowing any of this, and they're ruining their careers.
They're getting pimped.
Because they're not. Yeah. You can't fix a problem if you're not aware that it's there. So a lot of guys are turning professional, and they're not really aware of this. because like me and Jalen been around since we were kids, so we've seen Stack and a lot of other pro fighters make these mistakes, and we're like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, I see how it is. A lot of these guys, you know, they're coming into the game not really knowing that or been around what we've been around, and so they're falling into these traps and they get stuck. I've seen guys ruin their careers who can't fight again because a promoter kind of owns them, you know, but they know that if they fight, the promoter's not going to want them to win because the promoter he's not going to fight for me no more. He doesn't want me, so I'm going to sell him out. So they want to make money off you, and you know that, so you won't fight. But the contract won't void if you don't meet that quota of fights you signed up for. So a lot of guys are just fucked. Like, there are guys who can't fight even if they want to because they're stuck in a contract, you know? So
but is that ruining the fun for you, Jalen, too? Like, does it ruin the fun of the game for you?
Well, I look at it like this. I'm gonna keep it a band with you. Anybody that I absolutely want to fight, I'm an asshole. I'm gonna talk so much shit you're gonna fight me. You know what I mean? You're gonna want to bang out with me. I'm very, like, if I really want to get you in the ring, I'm gonna research you. I'm gonna figure out what buttons to push. Like, I'm the type of dude, like, I will pop up at your kid's school and have a microphone talking about how your dad's a punk and your dad's a bitch. Like, you're gonna fight me, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Either you gonna fight me in the ring or in the street. Like, it's going down. So I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about picking and choosing. You know what I mean? You have to be smart. And you have to be smart. And everyone, like, when you sign in, like, promoters, managers, everyone has your back until they don't have your back. And you never know when they're not gonna have your back.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So
and you're committed to a contract, so you can't just walk away. You have to deal with it or try to work it out. And sometimes it's not in your favor. So it's
a lot of fighters don't understand that. And a lot of us are hood. You know what I mean? A lot of us come from nothing. A lot of us don't know how to communicate correctly. So it'd be like, all right, like, Bing, let's say homie signed a contract for a 3-year contract, and he's not liking the fights getting offered to him, and he's like, I'm turning this down, I'm turning that down.
Yep.
Instead of having a sit down with the promoter and being like, all right, boom, like, I don't like this, I don't like this. This is where I'm trying to go with. Get me this and get me this. They'll be like, oh, fuck you, I don't need to fight for you. Da, da, da. They'll go off like we on the block, and now you blackballed. Now when you fight for him again, he's gonna fucking rob you.
Yep.
So you just burnt the bridge that you didn't need to burn. So people, like, we gotta understand, like, when it's time to speak, and when it's time to, like, share your grievances, there's a way to go about it. There's a time to go about it. Even if no one's gonna be 100% comfortable with a compromise, and that's what a lot of fighters don't understand. A compromise leaves everyone compromised, uncomfortable. But we can go, we can do what we need to do. A lot of fighters, like, especially like how you were saying, like, when, like, you don't have the big amateur pedigree. You know what I mean? Like, I have a decent amateur pedigree. I don't got a huge one, but I got a good one. You know what I mean? When I turned pro, I had to start from the mud. You know what I mean? I had to pay for my own couple fights. I had to fight someone tough, and then I got signed with CES. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me and CES, we understand, like, to make money, we have to fight a certain way.
Yeah.
I also have to sell tickets to make more money. You know what I mean? We have an understanding. So I don't mind if, let's say, they can't find me a fight, and they grab someone, they gotta pay them 6 bands. 6 bands for a 6-rounder is a lot of money. That's $1,000 a round. I'll take some short bread so you can throw my opponent some more money, but I'm gonna win. I need this win. You know what I mean? Whether it's a 50-50 fight, because some of the fights I done took, they not like, all right, bro, you about to knock this dude out. It's your skill versus her skill. Like, hopefully you win, bro. Like, you're in shape, so you should win. You know what I mean? Like, the last dude I fought, he just knocked out Lamont Peterson. You know what I mean? So when you got what happened, Matty?
Oh no, I was just like that.
So you got to look at stuff accordingly, and you got to know how to move and what to do when you're doing it. If they're like they want to offer everyone Like if you're not, like they be wanting to offer you guys that are too big for you. As a fighter, we be like, whatever, fuck him, I'll beat his ass.
Yeah,
No,
your pride.
no.
Yeah.
I like, especially for this, like me being smart now, I put my pride aside when I'm talking about anything that has to do with fights. Whenever I'm not in the ring and we talking boxing, it's business. It's straight business. How much money am I gonna make out this shit? What do I need to do to make this much money go? Who are we getting in the ring with? What is his background? Who are the people he fought? Who is his gym? Where does he come from? You feel me? What is his blood type? I need to know all this. Once this is all down and we get everything down on a book, all right, bing. This is how we're gonna move from that. I don't like that, or this is cool, so we're gonna go with that. You got the last say. It don't matter what no one else says. You feel me? If I don't have to sign this contract. And that's what a lot of fighters don't understand. They don't do any homework. They get a name and they be like, all right, good, I gotta fight. Like you can't do that. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't know who they're getting in the ring with. They don't be realizing like they're getting in the ring with national champions or whatever. Matter of fact, the fight that got me signed to CES, they had a 3-0 guy. He wasn't even signed to them. He was just 3-0. And they were looking for a fight for him. I was like, fuck it, I'll take it. I was 3-0. I was like, I don't care, I'm gonna beat him. Didn't do no homework on the dude. I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck him up, whatever. It's my first fight, like around in Worcester and shit. So I'm like, all right, whatever. Get ready to go. You know how I fight. You feel me? Hands down, chilling. Like he ain't got nothing on me. Yo, that motherfucker had something for my black ass. He had one hell of an overhand right. And oh my God, they almost put me to sleep. I had to adjust on the fly. Boom, beat him. Come to find out, he was on the Guyana Olympian team. You know what I mean? He has 300 amateur fights with like 78 knockouts. Like he could bag, he could fight. He had massive amounts of experience. He had more experience than me. He had fought in the worlds. Wow. I never even thought about going to that tournament. You know what I mean? That kid could fight. I beat him. I did what I had to do. But me over there working with my chest, like, my pride. Nah, bro, I couldn't find nothing on that kid. I couldn't find nothing on that kid. And he looked it big already. I shouldn't have took that fight. But me being like, I'm the king, I'm the boss, you feel me? I'm boxing's favorite boxer, no one's gonna beat me. I'm jumping in there, I'm taking a fight. Now, I mean, I took it and God bless me, I got signed with CES and now you feel me, I'm doing better things, but it could have turned out really bad for me. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for the beer Pops gave me, I could have went to sleep. And that probably would have been the end of my boxing career. Me being stupid.
So Reinaldo, with you right now, I mean, I know, are you trying to get into the next Olympics? And also, is there a future that like you're really, really doing your homework to see where professionally you want to go?
So, my goal right now is, from my perspective, the way I see it is, when you turn pro, you're either going to be a Marvin Hagler or Sugar Ray Leonard. And for people who don't know what that means, watch HBO Legendary Nights, Marvin Hagler versus Sugar Leonard. And it's a night and day difference to their career, the trajectory of their career. Like, or Austin De La Hoya, guys like that. Like, it's not by accident that when you think about it, the majority of all-time great fighters, Roy Jones, Sugar Leonard, De La Hoya, Mayweather, all these guys were Olympians. You know, when you're an Olympian, it puts you on a whole different level of fighting.
You're on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Literally.
So not only because of how good you are, but because of how much support you'll get. So my thing is this, my options are this. I have so much experience. I'm one of the best fighters in the area, right? And I can turn pro. And hopefully I get a manager promoter who puts me first, or, you know what I'm saying? I'm still going to have to deal with that political, money, and hopefully I'm not being set up or whatever, or I can go for another Olympics. And we haven't had a gold medalist in the United States in 20 years, since Andre Ward in 2004. So
Wow, that's a long. I
If
never
I was
knew
to
that.
win gold, from my perspective, that's big. That sets me apart from even Shakur Stevenson. That sets me apart from Gary Russell, all these guys who didn't, you know what I'm saying, win gold. To me, that my trajectory when I turn pro would be so much more different than if I was to turn pro now. So I'm just taking, I don't know. I've struggled with it, but at this point, I'm like, let's just go for one more Olympic run. It's my third time's a charm. I have a lot of experience. I've learned a lot on the journey here. And I know 100% I'm very capable of winning, you know? And so right now I'm just gonna, once I win gold, right? Things are gonna come towards me. Cause right now, like if I was to turn pro, a lot of fighters, when they turn pro, they're trying to fight for that promoter to look at them. You know, they're trying to put on good performances. So CES or Top Rank or Mayweather Promotions or PBC can be like, hey, who's this kid? Then you got to market yourself because they're not just gonna just look at somebody who's good. They want to see somebody who's good who sells tickets. So it's a lot more that you have to do independently and hopefully do it right. And then on top of that, it's like, if I was to turn pro, I might be world champion 5-6 years from now. But if I become an Olympian next year and I'm winning a gold medal, 2025, 2026, I could be world champion making millions, So it's a 90-day difference, It's a shortcut kind of to the top. So I figured if I have the experience, I might as well take the risk, Let's just go for one more Olympic team. And it's just adding on to my resume. It's a big deal, And
Yeah,
it's
what's one more
history. Like
year?
this city doesn't have. We've never had. I don't even think we've even. Jalen, how many national champions do we have in Springfield in the history of Springfield?
7.
Not many.
7.
Yeah, it's not a
Wait.
lot.
Well, when I say 7, I mean we've had 7 championships won here, not like the same dude that won them. You know what I mean? I think it was like 3 people or 4. I know.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
Yeah. Little homie
Wilbur.
Little home. What's his name? Was it Kenneth Morales?
Yeah, I think so.
Or or Rivera. I can't remember. Julio, the little homie Julio training.
Adrian.
Him. He's disgusting. He's the national champion.
Yeah,
that's a bad.
He's going to Detroit. I think.
He's going with you. Yeah,
so.
yo. Shout out little homie, yo. That's a bad dude right there, yo.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta keep your eye on him.
Yeah,
he is nasty. Yo, hold up. Getting back to the chasing the Olympic dream. So what's going on with Detroit, bro? I'm not in the amateurs no more, so I haven't been paying attention to like the weight classes. So who the top guys in your weight class? And matter of fact, what did you rank? Is you up there? What are we doing, bro? What's going on?
To be real with you, I don't even know who the top guys are. Because
you're going to fight.
Yeah. The professional game is different. In the amateurs, I think you can overwhelm yourself and overthink fighters. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're fighting every day. And you don't know who you're going to fight. So at the end of the day, it's like, you got to show up and fight, And every fighter is different. Like I said, the homework in the pros is different because you want to fight somebody who makes sense. Like when you sign to a contract to fight somebody as a professional, you want to make sure, like I said, they're not gonna weigh in at 147 and come in at 170. You know what I'm saying? Because they're just bigger, or like just things like that. You want to make sure that it makes sense for you to fight them, because they're gonna find every advantage to beat you. In the amateurs, you don't really have much of a say who you fight, and generally it's more fair because you weigh in that morning and you're going to fight people regardless of what you think, you don't have much of a choice. So for me, it's better for me that I don't really like, I might watch them a little bit, but at the end of the day, I have so much experience that
you're going to see every style. It doesn't matter.
I'll just go and fight,
More power to you, bro, doing all what you do for that Olympic trial, man. And I don't want to watch fucking track and field. I'd rather watch you box on TV, bro.
Yeah.
Track and field is cool too, though.
It is cool. It is cool, but I'm saying it would be cool for him to be on there. I'll be like, oh shit, I know him.
Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. They took hold up. Didn't they took boxing away from being an Olympic sport for a second, didn't they?
They still did. It's banned. It's banned from the Olympics. You know why?
Why?
Corruption.
I'm so confused. So wait, hold on. So share some knowledge on me. So if it's banned, how y'all like if you win Detroit and by the time it come around, if it's still they don't do it, what happens?
I won't fight. Right now. So listen, I'm gonna tell you a story, right? I'm not gonna name
I'm
names.
listening. Hold on. I gotta move my hand.
I'm very listening.
I'm listening.
When I was in Ohio, right? That was the last tournament I fought in back in 2018, 2019. I forget. I think it was 2019. Because right before I left the army.
2019.
Right? When you go to the tournaments, the day before everyone fights, they do a draw, right? They'll make all the brackets. And like I said, they're picking names out of a hat. I think now it's like computerized, it's random. Like they'll match. It's supposed to be random, like, okay, this whatever, like this person will fight this person. They can't choose because they want to make sure it's not biased. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think the most they'll do is if it's like a guy who has like 600 amateur fights and a guy fighting who only has like 8, then they'll be like, we don't want the guy to get hurt. So they might swap it then. But for the most part, it's random. Or like if me and Jalen are fighting in Detroit in the same weight class, if they match us the first night, then we can request to switch it. Because that doesn't make any sense. I could fight Jalen here. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, hold on. What? Ooh, what? Really?
That what?
I didn't know that shit. Fuck. Bro, I went to Cali, I went to Philly, I went to Colorado and fought James Barella 3 damn times. I could have fought him at home. I remember I used him for sparring to get ready for one of them tournaments.
I remember that was an issue because Marvin told Pops, he was like, bro, you should have disputed that. Like, the thing is, we never went. The coaches are supposed to be there during the draw. So when things like that happen, in the moment, they can be like, oh, James Barella is like an hour away from me. It doesn't make sense to me to fight him right now in the first night. Like in the finals, you can't avoid it. But like the first night, it's like, I didn't come here to fight somebody I could have fought at home. So you could request for them to do a redraw. We never went, So if that ever happened, it's like, we're kind of stuck with it.
That makes me so fucking mad.
Yeah, you didn't have to fight them. You could. I mean, like if it was like middle of the tournament and like the brackets, that's different. They can't do much then. But like if it's like the first 2 nights or the first night, you can be like, yo, like
whenever we was in the same tournament, first night.
Yeah, nah. See, that didn't make sense.
That's annoying.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm in Ohio, right? And mind you, at this point, like I said, I have so much experience. I'm just like, I don't care who I fight. Because I know at the end of the day, like I used to get nervous or anxious. Now I've had so many amateur fights and I've fought so many different people from all over the world. I'm just like, I don't even care. Like I know whoever it is, I can hold my own. So, I don't really even look at who I'm fighting. I'm just like, whoever I'm fighting, I'm fighting. So I was the first night, my aunt, she was looking at who I was fighting. She was like, oh, mind you, I'm in Ohio, right? She's like, oh, you're fighting somebody who's from Ohio. And I was like, oh, okay, like that's always tricky when you fight in a hometown fighter because you really have to win good. Otherwise, you're probably on,
Yeah.
So I was like, that's the only time it is good to know because it's like, okay, now I have to really make it a point to win. And she told me that, and I was like, okay, like really, I don't give a fuck because I know whatever happens, I'm gonna fight hard. I'm gonna fight my hardest. So we'll see. But she did tell me that, and mind you, I never saw this guy fighting in that. I've been at so many different national tournaments. You know what I'm saying? Since like 2014, I've been to many of them, and you kind of get like you'll go like if I go to Detroit, well now it's a whole new generation, so it's gonna be a lot of new faces. But you get used to seeing people's faces. Like okay, I know like Raheem Gonzalez, I know he's gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna go, you're gonna see him. You know what I'm saying? Like you start to familiarize yourself with everybody because everyone, when you're on that level, everyone's always gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna keep competing at this level. This guy, I don't know who he was. So I'm like, okay, this might be his first national tournament or whatever. So I know he doesn't have probably experience on this level. I don't know, right? So I was like, whatever, I don't care. I'll fight him. When I weighed in, mind you, the brackets were already drawn, right? And at this point, I was like ranked, I think number 6 in the country, something like that. And so when I went to go weigh in the day of the fight, for some reason, I never had this happen to me before. It was switched. I was fighting somebody else. And I'm like, that's weird. You know what I'm saying? Because like technically, they're not supposed to do that. They can't do that. Once the brackets are drawn, you can't change it up. It's drawn. Like you like in that moment, you can swap it when it makes sense. Like if I'm fighting another fighter from the same area, but you can't swap names or fights the following day. Like the next day, that's it. Whoever's fighting is fighting. Nobody disputed it, so you're fighting. So that morning, I was fighting somebody else. I didn't care because I'm like, whatever, I'll fight whoever. But I just thought that was weird because I'm like, technically, if I wanted to make an issue, I could have been like, why am I fighting somebody else? Like, that's illegal. Who swapped this out? Like, that's not supposed to happen. But I was like, whatever, I don't care. Like, that's what my pride was like, I don't give a fuck who I'm fighting, right? Long story short, though, they put all the best fighters in one bracket, I swear. Because when I made it out of my bracket, I beat everybody who was ranked. All the top 10 fighters were in my bracket, and I beat all of them. And I was like,
my man,
I was struggling though. Yo, it's like day 4, and my body was like, fuck, like I'm hurting. But I was like, whatever, on to the next fight. Raul Marquez, who was an Olympian with De La Hoya, right? Who was a world champion, fought Fernando Vargas, all that stuff. He saw me fight, hit me up, and was like, yo, bro, you won your bracket, all the best fighters, you're good. You're gonna make it. Like, there's no one else here that's gonna beat you. And I was like, I don't think like that. I'm always prepared for the worst, but realistically, all the other fighters were.
Yo, I'm sorry, I gotta ask you a question. Did the kid from Ohio beat you?
No.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
keep going. My bad.
To get to it, right? The kid I fought, when I fought him, realistically, I don't know how I lost that fight. And even Raul Marquez, who's a Showtime commentator, like I said, Olympian, world champion, like he's at the top of the game. Like he's has so much. He was a world champion and an Olympian back in like 1992 or something like that, 1994 or whatever, 6, I think. He was like, yo, I don't know how you lost. And I'm like, bro, that's not up to me. And the guy that I fought really didn't have a lot of experience. And even the guy himself after the fight was like, you really think I won that? And I'm like, yeah, I was like, hey, bro, like you got the win. Just make sure you win the whole tournament. But there was a lot of questions going on. He loses the next night. The guy from Ohio that I was supposed to fight the first day wins the whole tournament. You know what I'm saying? So there was speculation. Wow. There was speculation that they delivered because he's from Ohio, and it's not by. Think about it. The last Olympic team, I swear, like 80% of them were from Ohio. Most of those fighters were from Ohio. So they were like, was it by accident that they probably put him in a bracket that was a lot easier, kind of gave him an easier path to win, as opposed to someone like me, where I was fighting the best fighters. And he wanted to kind of avoid him fighting somebody who was good and experienced because he probably just wanted him to win. I don't know. But that wasn't even me saying that. That was other people. They were like, yo, bro, like, you were supposed to fight.
That's what it sounded like.
That was weird. And I was like, I don't know. And then they were like, but you lost against that guy that he beat. And that guy really, he was good, but you won. And bro, I don't control any of this. I don't know. And that guy ended up making the Olympic team. And think about this. I'm not gonna lie, I was heartbroken I didn't make the Olympic team. So I didn't watch Olympics. I was like, good for them. I hope they do well, but I don't want to watch it right now. My brother was watching it though, right? And my brother calls me in. He's like, yo, Ray, like, come look at this. And I'm like, I don't want to watch it. He's like, no, look. So I'm looking. The guy that's fighting was the guy in the Olympics, right? It was in Japan, right?
Tokyo.
Huh?
Tokyo, I think.
Yeah, Tokyo, Japan.
Yeah, Tokyo, Japan. Yeah.
He was like, yo, that's the dude you were supposed to fight. And I'm like, yeah, that's him, yeah. And then he was like, bro, he's losing. And I'm like, what? And I was like, well, yeah, I hope he wins, whatever. And I wanted to leave, but as I was leaving the room, because I don't want to see this, he got knocked down twice, bad. Like, I think it was in the first round, he got caught, dropped, And honestly, I think the rest of the fight he was surviving because he was hurt. He survived that round, which, in my opinion, they should have stopped the fight because he was really hurt. That guy was, I think it was a dude from Argentina, was putting a lot of pressure on him.
I remember this fight.
Yeah. And then the second round, he gets dropped again. And it's like, okay, he lost. There's no way he's going to win. He won the fight. So,
but you know what?
It's like weird.
A knockdown is only 1 point, right? And it's not even a knockdown doesn't even count in amateur boxing from what people are starting to tell me. Like it's not even.
It doesn't, but it doesn't matter. He was so hurt. He wasn't even fighting back. He was trying to survive. Like he was so hurt. He was on the ropes, just like oh my god, like he was just trying not to get knocked out. And the third round, I thought he won the third round because he was like, I gotta step up, or I'm definitely gonna lose. But the first 2 rounds were he got dropped and he was hurt. And he was more of him surviving. He wasn't even really trying to fight back. He was trying to recover. And I don't know how he won. I mean, the knockdowns, even if, sure, they don't count, maybe, right? I guess. But technically, I guess they don't. Even though I feel like they do sometimes. I don't know. But either way, he wasn't even fighting back. So, knockdown. Yeah, so he still won the fight. So it's like when the Olympics ban boxing, when they see things like that, it doesn't surprise me because it's like, what happened there? You know what I'm saying? Like, what happened? Like, that's something you can't really hide. It's not like a close fight, and it's like, well, we'll give it to the guy who wants to win. No, like that dude was hurt, and honestly should have stopped the fight a long time ago. And he finished the fight and wins, And even the Argentine guy's like, what the hell? Like, only thing he could have done differently was knock him out, and he didn't. But so yeah, right now technically, the entire sport is banned from the Olympics. So I was funny because I was talking to Mike, who's a coach, about this yesterday because I sparred Josh. And I was like, damn, bro, like I can spend all this time trying to make the Olympic team. Even if I make the team, the sport still might not even be in the Olympics. So I could be kind of wasting my time. I could just be turning pro and fighting from there, So it's like, it's a weird spot right now. When it comes to Olympics and boxing,
you won't be wasting your time because if you make it to the box off, you're a box off champion regardless. When you win the nationals, you're a national champion again. And then they have the Pan Am Games and they have the Worlds. You also can jump into the Worlds. That's coming around in the next year, right?
Yeah.
You can jump into that. There's still different roads for you to go down. I know it's not the Olympics, but I mean, if you're an amateur world champion, it's a fuck. You're in I mean, come on, amateur world champion. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're the best amateur fighter on the planet.
Yeah, it's true, but I haven't there's not much more I could do from what I've already done. You know what I'm saying? And I could keep doing it, but there's a point in time where it's like, I'm getting older, and it's like, fuck, maybe I should just turn pro and start that journey, as opposed to keep waiting for that perfect deal or whatever. But it's tough. It's tough because, every fighter has a different situation when it comes to that relationship of, with a promoter or a manager or, whatever. But I don't know. The sport's very, very, very tricky. You got to know the ropes and know your limitations and know what you have to do. And right now, for me, with boxing being banned in the Olympics, I'm at a weird spot where it's like, do I chase it or do I just turn pro? But
so Ray, my final question to you, bro, is so obviously me, like I definitely want to see where your journey comes to because it's like I can have the new show Cutthroat too. I can just have the quick glance of it, bro. Like, so the journey you have to go through the trials and all this stuff. Like, how can people see your journey? Like through your Instagram or like a Facebook or anything like that?
So it's funny because right now, I don't know if I should put their name out there, but right now I'm trying to. There's a big company or like MGM, right? They potentially want to sort of put my journey out there. because I had, coming from being a veteran, and Jalen knows this. I come from the South End Community Center, right, in Springfield, Mass. And back in I think it was 2012, the tornado came and ruined the gym.
Destroy that shit.
Jalen knows how hard it's been for us to fight, because after the tornado ruined our gym, destroyed it completely, we've been gymless. We've been trying to figure out where to go. And mind you, while we're trying to figure out where to even train, we're still fighting on the highest level, trying to, so coming from that, then, going into the Army and boxing for the Army. And, it hasn't been easy. And I think that, they were telling me like the journey is very attractive. Like, you have a great story, you've done a lot, and the journey to the Olympics, you're still chasing it, things like that. So right now we're trying to figure out a way to set up somewhat of like, I don't know, maybe like a YouTube channel or whatever, to try to like document all of it, because for me, what means most to me was to put this out for the city. Because I want the new generation and kids after me to not go through what I went through and make the same mistakes. Like, the thing is that me and Jalen never had anybody to really look up to. There's not a real good success story coming out of Springfield. We had to figure it out as we went, and right now everything that I do is for the future. It's for the posterity. It's so that they can see like, damn, like, so, like they have somewhat of a good example. That's why I don't drink and I don't smoke, I don't club, whatever. Not that it's bad. People live the life how they want, but in this life, if you want to be great in boxing and sports or whatever, you have to be disciplined. You have to do what you live kind of a straight arrow, and you can't preach it if you don't live it. You know what I'm saying? And so, I don't know. I really want to put myself, a lot, like I want to win gold, not just for me, but for my city. You know what I'm saying? So, my city could take pride in something, athletically, and we're like the birthplace of basketball, and nobody even knows that, so
we don't even got a basketball team.
Yeah. So right now it's just like, as far as like following my journey, yeah, like my Instagram, I'm gonna start posting a lot more things like that. But right now I'm putting together like a media team, like somebody who's gonna be able to record me in the gym, and so we could all kind of.
That's excellent, man. I like that. That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I got a name for you. I got a name for it. A Sprint to Glory, the Reinaldo Torres story.
That
sounds fire.
That actually sounds pretty good. It's pretty catchy. Yeah.
Yo, all right, I got one more question too. I've been waiting to ask you this question like the whole time. So, bro, how did it feel to have Money May sit there and be like, yeah, we looking at all these different boxers, and specifically say your name, like Reinaldo Torres, he's the one that we're looking after. Like, bro, how did that feel, bro? Like, where were you when you seen that, like when you seen that the first time and you heard it for the first time? Where were you sitting? Like, how did you, like, who brought that to your attention? Like, yo, this nigga talking about you.
Yeah. So that right there was, honestly, it was a curse and a blessing, because it really showed me it was a reward to like, damn, everything that I have done is starting to pay off. I'm starting to get notoriety and recognition in places that I want. But it was also a curse because it made me feel that I belonged in a particular area where maybe the world wasn't ready for me to be there yet. Because so what happened was, before I left the Army, right before, I don't know why, I was upset about it. A lot of guys were upset about it, but they deployed me to Poland, right? Mind you, this is right before the whole Ukraine issue with Russia. So, they deployed me there. Mind you, I was supposed to get out like 3 months prior to that. So I don't even know why they sent me. I was like, I need to start getting out the Army. And I had just fought in Ohio. I just placed like top 3. I knew I was going to be ranked probably like top 3 at that point. So I'm like, right now I should be focused on boxing and my life outside of the Army, after the Army. And there was a guy that I was working with in the Army who his father, or his wife's uncle, used to drive people from Top Rank all the time, like a lot of boxers in like Vegas and stuff in California. And he was like, yo, put together like a fight package, like a video and stuff. Send it to me and I'll send it to him. And I was like, okay. And I think Raul Marquez might have had a hand in this too, because he's
Yo, he seems to love your ass.
Huh?
He seems to love your ass. When
Who,
you get
Raul?
when you get ready to turn, you need to contact him.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked on the phone, like we even discussed like him managing me and things like that. But he has, a family, so he was always like, I don't, it takes a lot to do what, to do that. But long story short, somehow I guess Mayweather heard about me and they were like, yo, like Mayweather wants to talk to you. And I'm like, I don't really believe that. Like I thought it was a joke.
You lying.
I was like, come on, like y'all fucking with me. And he was like, nah, like Mayweather wants to talk to you. So I was like, whatever. Long story short, we talked for a little bit. He took my name down, everything. He was like, yo, asking me how many fights I had, if I want to turn pro. But later on, it kind of fell through because of COVID. At the time when everything was happening, nobody was fighting. Nobody could fight. Everything was social distancing. It was the height of COVID. Everything was shut down. So it didn't make sense for anybody to sign me because Top Rank was looking at me too, apparently, right? And it didn't make sense for anybody to sign me because it's like, why are we going to sign somebody if he can't even fight? We don't know how long COVID's going to last. At that point, it was just, shutdowns were just starting to happen. So it was like, we could sign this guy, for X amount of years, and we might not even be able to even fight him for that time. So everyone kind of just pushed, like, it was like, it was kind of heartbreaking because, like, right after Ohio, I had all these calls and everything going on, and I was like, oh my God, I made it, right? It's like making the NBA. And then within a span of like a month or two, it all just stopped because of COVID. And I'm like, damn, like I worked my whole life to get this, and something that I don't have any control of just took it right out of my hands, So I know, like, I talked to some of the guys from the Mayweather like environment, and they're like, yeah, like it wasn't you, it was because of COVID. COVID really just stopped everything. Like nobody was signing nobody because it just didn't make any sense business wise.
Yeah.
But it felt good though. It was like a, I was like, damn, like I got acknowledgement from one of the greatest fighters, somebody I watched my whole life. He's talking to me, like this man's like literally like asking me like questions, like tell me your story, where are you from, like how many fights do you have, are you turning pro,
Crazy.
how tall are you, what I'm saying, are you lefty, are you righty, like, what I'm saying, do you like to fight slick? Like he was asking me mad questions. I'm like, yes, I'm like, I'm this, this and that. And he was like, yo, tell me your story, I want to hear all of it. And I'm like, I told him all of it, but because the timing wasn't right, with COVID and everything else. But it felt good. But it, like I said, it was also a curse because it made me like, damn, I don't want to sign with anybody lesser than them because I know that I'm at that level. But it held me back because now I still haven't fought, So I had to really humble myself and be like, damn, I may not be at the position that I want to be, but you got to take what you have in the moment, And even though you could have had it and slip through your fingers, and it really wasn't much more I could have done, you just got to take what you have, And it really, like, I think time really humbled me and really taught me that, like, sometimes you just got to take what, you got to eat what's on the table, regardless of what you got, or what you think you should be eating. So, but yeah, right now it's another Olympic, so I just turned pro, But either way, I know regardless, I'm good at what I do, and eventually it'll pay out, if I keep putting in the work. So,
well, Ray, I can't thank you enough for being on the show, and again, 100%. Thank you for your service to this country and keeping us safe, and representing the U.S. in the Olympics. And I hope the ban gets lifted. And I know I appreciate you on the show, and Jalen, of course. Like, I know this is your boy right here, so
it's my dog.
Yeah,
you feel me?
That's like my brother. We grew up together.
Facts, yo. When I say like we really went through the trenches with this boxing shit together, like we really went through the trenches. And it got to the point where it was only me and him traveling. So we was always together.
And Jaden's always been like an older brother to me. Like he taught me, like, what I'm saying? Like it was my first national tournament. It was like his third, he always had more fights than me. So like whenever I reached a point where I'm like, damn, I don't know what to do. He was always somebody I can go to and be like, yo, bro, like, what do you do when you're trying to cut weight? Or what do you do when this or that. He was always a good voice. You know, Jaden's always been there and helping me develop in that journey. You know what I'm saying? So
he's
like
developing me in the
brother.
sport of boxing as well, bro.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, dog. You already know, yo, you my guy, man. And yo, I definitely you definitely got to do that journey thing. I want to see it, man. I want to see the whole behind the scenes, I definitely want to follow your whole journey going up towards like whether it's the Olympics. If they have it, then we going to the Olympics, baby. You already know. I want to see you get that gold. Pan Am, I want to see you get that gold. World Tournament, I want to see you get that world title. You feel me? All that. So we about to be lit in here. And yo, I appreciate you coming down. And is there anything that they can follow you on? Your Instagram, TikTok, Twitter?
Yeah. I just have right now the only thing I'm really working on is my Instagram. It's at Sleepy Ray, Sleepy REII and __. And you can just start following me there. And obviously I'm gonna start branching out into other things. But right now that's the really main social media that I'm really pushing.
You get on that TikTok.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I just opened one up, so I'm gonna start posting on it and everything. Yeah.
All right, thank you again, bro. And Reinaldo Torres, you're gonna see him on a CES card, or actually no, I should say Top Rank. Tell Joe Tessitore I said hi when you get there.
You go see him on ESPN fighting in France. That's what you about to see. He about to be whooping ass.
That's what I want to see first.
Gold. Then top rank later. We want to see Olympic gold medalists. We feel me? Reinaldo Torres from Springfield, Massachusetts in the building. That's what we putting out into the freaking in the world right now. That's what's about to happen.
But
thank you for having me. I'm really happy and glad to be here, you know, with you guys and be able to talk about these things.
You're always welcome on this show. You know that, me and Jay, right?
Always, man.
And then we need that Olympic medal.
Yeah, next time I'm out here, I'm gonna have it on my neck. So,
word.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, box with me and Mattie C, Jalen Renaud, aka boxing's favorite boxer, Reinaldo Torres, aka future Olympian. So, all right, everybody, we'll see you guys later. And good night, Sadie.
Thanks for watching Mattie C's Sports for You and Me. Make sure to follow Mattie C on Matt Cameron 23 on Twitter, Mattie C 23 on Instagram, and subscribe to Mattie C's Sports for You and Me on YouTube.
What the fuck is up? They ain't touching me for nothing. Gang shit is not my business. I ain't not the one to fuck with. I bring the flow with lyrical stamina, rapping a million miles. One point I'm an animal, then I'm a cannibal, taking my pick and I pounce. Bold and serious, cold amphibious track murderer. A cup I need by no one, so I got my back further, brother. Heat is up, extinguisher. I got the track burning up. Don't think to touch 6 feet's enough to get the match to combust. Diamond, strike it, ignite on any given surface solid. Callous symbols that come.